The young woman died on July 1st. She was 23 years old and so thin that it seemed her body could no longer support itself. For a long time, it was said that she died of malnutrition, that she simply weakened until she faded away. That was the official story, the one everyone accepted because it was easier than looking any deeper. But the truth is different. She died during an exorcism. For Ed Warren, one of the most well-known demonologists recognized by the church, an exorcism is not the beginning of a problem, but the end. To him, when an exorcism becomes necessary, it means that something has already entered the person, something non-human, something that uses the body as if it were its own. According to Warren, these entities seek out people who are weak, exhausted, ill, or emotionally broken, because that is where it is easiest to enter and remain without being noticed at first. It all began in Germany in the late 1960s. Anneliese Michel grew up in a deeply religious family, where faith was present in every corner of the home. She was a quiet, studious young woman, someone who had never experienced serious problems. For a long time, her life was completely normal, until one night she woke with the sensation that someone was standing beside her bed. She saw no figure and heard no sound, but she felt a presence so strong that her body became paralyzed. When she was finally able to move, she knew something had entered her life without permission. From that night on, sleeping became difficult. She woke convinced that someone was watching her from the darkness, as if eyes were hidden in the corners of the room. She felt something moving when she closed her eyes, as if she were not alone, even in silence. As the weeks passed, physical problems began to appear. Seizures, fainting spells, moments in which she seemed completely disconnected from the world. For months, the explanation was medical. The seizures and loss of consciousness appeared to fit a physical condition, something that could be diagnosed and treated. There were doctor visits, tests, medications, and constant adjustments to her treatment. No one spoke of faith or rituals yet. At that point, everyone believed the problem was in the body, and that the body could be fixed. But nothing worked. Over time, Anneliese began to say things that frightened her family. She said she had thoughts that were not her own, that she felt a force inside her pushing her to do things she did not want to do. She also began to avoid religious objects, not because she had lost her faith, but because she said something inside her rejected them immediately, as if they caused pain or rage. Her behavior changed, her isolation increased, and her physical deterioration became impossible to ignore. When medicine no longer offered answers, the family sought spiritual help. They did not speak of exorcisms at first. They only asked for guidance. The first priest who saw her listened, observed, and urged caution. He did not speak of possession or rituals. He said that not all suffering was spiritual, and that conclusions should not be rushed. Even so, he admitted that there were things about Anneliese that did not fully align with anything he had seen before. Time passed, and the episodes intensified. The crises were no longer occasional. The deterioration continued. The word exorcism did not appear immediately, but it began to linger as an uncomfortable possibility, something no one wanted to say out loud. When the decision was finally made, it did not feel like a beginning, but like a last attempt. The permission came late. The ritual began. The first sessions were calm, long prayers in a room heavy with tension. But little by little, something began to change. Anneliese started looking toward empty corners, as if she saw someone standing there. At times, her eyes followed something no one else could see, as if an invisible presence were moving through the room and stopping behind each person. No one asked whether they should stop, only when they should continue. From that moment on, the house began to feel different. The lights flickered without reason. The clock stopped at the same hour every time, and the air grew so cold it felt as if a window had been opened where none existed. The priests began having recurring nightmares, always set in the same room. The mother said that when she passed by the door, she felt as though someone was watching her. The father avoided entering the house alone at night because the silence felt too heavy, as if the house itself were listening. During one of the sessions, while the priests were praying, Annalisa slowly lifted her head, as if something were guiding her, her eyes fixed on the doorway, and in a low but clear voice, she said she was not alone. The way she said it made no one move. After that night, things grew worse. Annalise began to speak in phrases that sounded like warnings, as if she were talking to someone the others could not see. She told them not to come closer, that something was moving, that someone did not want them to enter. Each time someone ignored her words, something strange happened. A door slammed shut on its own. An object fell without explanation, or a whisper crossed the room as if someone had passed very close by. During the 43rd session, Annalisa stopped looking at the people present and fixed her gaze on a point behind them, as if someone invisible had entered the room without making a sound. Then, with absolute calm, she said that the one who was missing had arrived. From that moment on, no one felt alone inside the house. The priests prayed with the sensation that something was walking around them, studying them. The family avoided staying alone in any room. The house seemed to breathe, as if every wall hid something that wanted to draw closer. On the final night, the atmosphere was so heavy that even speaking felt difficult. The priests began the last prayer while the family watched from the doorway, afraid to step inside. Annalise opened her eyes with an unnatural calm, one that made no sense given her condition, and said they should not worry about her, that it would stay with them. The priests stopped praying. The mother fell to her knees. The father felt a cold so intense he thought he might collapse. No one wanted to look toward the corner Annalise had been staring at. After speaking those words, Annalise closed her eyes. Her body relaxed, as if she had finally found rest. But the room did not feel lighter. On the contrary, the air grew heavier, as if something else had taken her place. The priests tried to continue the prayer, but the words caught in their throats. The family did not approach the body. They could not. There was a clear sensation, impossible to ignore. They were not alone. Annalise died after 67 exorcisms. She died exhausted, weakened, consumed by a process that never stopped. Years later, a court sought accountability. Her parents were convicted of negligence. The church changed its rules. The recordings of the rituals exist and document everything that happened. The story was later brought to film under a different name, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, but what happened in real life was far more disturbing than any fiction, because in the end, there was no definitive explanation. Only questions remained, and one of them is still impossible to ignore. If something needed a body in order to stay, how would you know the next one couldn't be yours?